Hey guys, 2024 is coming to a close, which means we've had another year of sim racing announcements, competitions, great streams by Daniel Gray 10, and other many significant events. I'm going to try my best to summarize it in 10 minutes. Please like and subscribe, and let's get started now. As always, this year started out with iRacing's biggest esports event, the Daytona 24. This year was an amazing race with no one using the apron and getting banned, so that was pretty good. The crown was taken out by Williams Esports in the GTP. It was taken out by WSR in the LMP2, but no one cared about that because GT3 was won by none other than Max Verstappen and Team Redline. The IndyCar license was also handed back to iRacing, which was massive news after Motorsport Games failed to really make anything with it. That meant we got the iRacing Indy 500 back, which was massive news. We also got some new series in iRacing, which stayed populated for about 2 weeks until people forgot all about them again. February was an interesting month because we got a new kid on the block. Le Mans Ultimate was released into early access and answered the question, what if we take rFactor 2 and make it somewhat user-friendly? People really liked it, but they definitely had some work to do on the game. However, for Motorsport Games, I think they were happy they just managed to make something that wasn't complete shit. iRacers rejoiced that the netcode glue issue was fixed, and it was kind of fixed, but 2 weeks later, people were complaining about it again. Of course, the Bathurst 12-hour in iRacing also happened, which isn't that significant of an event, but because it's at Bathurst, I'm going to talk about it because I'm massively biased. In March, iRacing Season 2 update hit. We got the Super Formula Lights, which was an awesome addition to iRacing, and more importantly, iRacing, after 10 years, released Rain, which people really enjoyed and now really avoid. But it adds a challenge to the game. People waited for it for years, and this update was revolutionary and awesome, albeit with some criticism from some sim racers. Twitch Rivals also happened, which I think by viewership was the highest viewed sim racing event this year, if you include real people and not bots, but we'll touch on that later. It was won by Casey Kerwin. I was in this event. I did absolutely poorly, although that's a bit irrelevant to the story. This was an awesome event for sim racing organized by Grand Pooh Bear, and it definitely got a lot of people into iRacing, which was awesome. In April, ACC got one of its biggest updates, finally getting the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Well, not quite the Nordschleife, for 24-hour layout, which includes Nordschleife. I don't know why they didn't let you just race Nordschleife, but anyway, this was a pretty cool update. Some people had some criticisms, but it was a great version of Nords, and little did ACC players know, this is probably the last update they're ever going to get that's massive, because Kunos are really moving their attention to Assetto Corsa Evo. iRacing's biggest esports competition, the Porsche esports competition, PESC, was won by Sebastian Job, cementing himself as the world's best sim racer with a pretty dominant performance. In the PESC All-Stars Streamer series that happened before PESC, Casey Kerwin managed to take that one out, but of course, more important than all of that, this guy managed to get P4 in the championship, and I even won a race, which I was pretty happy about. F1 esports concluded in May with Frederick Rasmussen winning. I've probably pronounced that wrong, sorry. No one really remembered that though. What people remembered was Thomas Ronhaar. After getting accused of hacking for years, he rocks up at the LAN tournament where you can't hack. First round, wins the race by almost 10 seconds, and then does this to the camera. Absolutely iconic Giga Chad energy. What a way to prove yourself. F1 24 was also released, which everyone loved, and there definitely wasn't any glitches. Of course, I'm joking. It's an F1 game. Everyone hated it, and there were lots of glitches. From what I can tell, most of those have been patched out by now, though. The thing in May that got the most attention in the sim racing world, though, was Max Verstappen. He set up a portable sim rig inside his motorhome at the F1 race so he could compete in the iRacing Nürburgring 24. This, of course, got massive attention in the sim racing world, but also the real world, where commentators were blaming his sim racing exploits on his performance in the actual real-life F1. In June, Traction GG, the sim racing news site, was revived when Motorsport Games sold it to Rafa Racing Club to manage it from here on out. They're now making really cool content. They're back on track, and you love to see it, albeit with a skeleton crew of who they once were. Moza released one of the more interesting pieces of hardware, the Vision GS wheel. There's not that many hardware releases this year, but the reason I bring this one up is it was one of the more weird, strange ones, and I honestly love to see companies taking swings with weirder products like this, albeit with a very mixed reception with maybe not the best ergonomics. iRacing released their Season 3 update, which included a couple of freedom-loving American GT3 cars. These were a really cool addition to the game. The update itself was maybe a little lackluster, with them working really hard to improve rain and add rain support, which was kind of the theme of iRacing this year. Last but not least, Jimmy Broadbent and Super GT, as always representing sim racers with class, managed to finish second in the Nords 24 in their class. Unfortunately, the Nords 24 this year was only a 7-hour race because of fog, but nonetheless, those boys did amazingly. In July, Endor AG, Fanatec's parent company, filed for bankruptcy. This was massive news. I guess we kind of all knew it was coming with the rumors before that. There was a rumor of Corsair taking over the company. More on that later, though. A lot of confusion, a lot of people with Fanatec products wondering what's going to happen, and it all got cleared up in the coming months. iRacing released its racing sim... Exocross. This game was played by about 4 people for about 2 days, which is a shame because it looks pretty cool, but it kind of flew completely under the radar. It's kind of like crossing Halo with Trackmania, I guess? I don't know. I've never even played it. The iRacing Spa 24 happened, a massive esports event for iRacing, and it was won again by Max Verstappen, who can't help but win anything involving a car, apparently. Last but not least, Rensport went into open beta, reviving the game a little bit, giving you some online competition servers. I myself had a bit of fun racing those competition servers, but as always, no one really cared, and Rensport is still behind the 8 ball, so I hope they can catch up in 2025. In August, Race Room had one of its biggest updates ever. Graphics, content, all sorts of things. And honestly, you love to see it. KW Suspension bought the game. They're looking after it really well. They released a bunch of banger content this year, which I want to quickly shout out. The Super Tourers pack among them that people are loving. This is the only time I'm going to talk about them in this video, but it's great to see Race Room competing, trying to modernize themselves, and it is such a cool game. So this update was a really cool sign for sim racers and the people who play that game. iRacing had its MX500 Oval Martinsville Mazda special event. Everyone went into it very excited, and everyone came out of it very, very distraught. It was so boring. My goodness, I hated it. I've never watched Matt Malone lose his mind more in my entire life. Everyone lost their mind. Oh God, please never let that happen again. Wreckfest 2 was announced. Wreckfest 1, of course, an absolutely awesome game. Wreckfest 2 is more than welcomed, and you love to see it. More details on that came out throughout the year, albeit a bit sparsely. And of course, the biggest esports sim racing tournament of all time, the Esports World Cup, with a $500,000 prize pool, took place. It was won, of course, by Team Redline and Sebastian Jobe. It was watched by 2 real people and thousands of Saudi Arabian Twitch bots. Allegedly, in my opinion. Please don't sue me, that was a joke. Because it was in Rensport, no one really cared, however, which created this really weird sim racing ecosystem where the best drivers were playing a game no one cared about, and it was all very weird. But nonetheless, congratulations to those guys winning an absolute boatload of money. September was an absolute banger, and the biggest news was Fanatec was acquired by Corsair. This is mostly great news, I think. The customer service got better. If you own their products, your warranty is going to be honored. And all in all, this is a great thing for Fanatec and the future of sim racing, in my opinion. And it definitely reassured Fanatec as its position in the sim racing market. Logitech also announced some new wheels and accessories for their Pro DD, which is awesome news if you own that wheel and you've been stuck with one wheel rim for years. They finally did it. It might have been a little too late, and maybe they still need to release more, but it's a great start for Logitech. Test Drive Solar Crown was also released this month, which is kind of a sim racing game. It was a glitchy mess. Everyone hated it. I tried it. It wouldn't even launch on my computer. iRacing also did its Season 4 update. It included the BMW GT4, or as most sim racers know it, the Jimmy Broadbent car. the McLaren GT3, Cadwell Park, and most importantly, a Spa refresh, which for sim racers, that's like their mecca, so that was awesome to see that refreshed finally, and a Zolder refresh. October, again, another massive month. Coca-Cola NASCAR winded up with Parker White taking out the title for Williams Esports. A very successful year for that team and an awesome achievement for Parker White. The Sim Racing Expo took place once again in Germany. Moser and SimMagic released their active pedals, or at least announced them, and I think this was probably the biggest news. The SimMagic active pedal looking like a double-decker bus was probably the biggest meme of this month as well. WRC released its 2024 content update. This was big news. You got the new cars, you got a couple new rallies. Criticism for this was it was a little bit overpriced, but nonetheless, it was pretty solid content for a game that a lot of the sim racing community, especially the rally community, have embraced. The Bathurst 1000 special event took place in iRacing. Once again, probably not that significant of an event, but because it was at Bathurst, I'm going to mention it. I was also in the top split broadcast for this one, bagged a top 5 and had an incredible battle. Not that you care, but I had a lot of fun. Simucube also released a couple of new cheaper variations on their active pedal. Of course, cheaper in this context means you'll only need to take out 4 mortgages instead of 5, but you love to see the market around active pedals growing. There might have also been some pretty big Reddit and Discord drama involving a certain glove company, but I'm not going to talk about that, alright. In November, Thrustmaster released their new budget DD with some coaxial technology that, from what I can tell, means it was a bit smoother. Jimmy Broadbent's 23 hours of Zolder happened. A bunch of cool streamers, a bunch of big names. Tony Kanaan, Max Verstappen were in the race. Jimmy ended up looking like this after 23 hours, and they raised an absolute boatload of money for mental health, which of course is an incredible cause. And the event was a big news event with Max Verstappen and Tony Kanaan and so many big names in it. Diogo Pinto won the IndyCar Pro Series. However, more people watched Max Verstappen watching him win the series than the series itself. The series was actually incredible though, some amazing racing, forcing them to race oval and road. I think this was one of the most underrated esports competitions of the year. December started, we got a ginormous Le Mans Ultimate update. We got GT3, we got a bunch of new content, new online competition, new subscription. I played this a bunch, and honestly, this update was great. Le Mans Ultimate managed to improve so much this year. I was so incredibly surprised at how good the game's gotten, how good the update is, and how good the online competition is. Automobilista released their 1.6 update. Automobilista is an amazing game. We're in such a good space for sim racing where every game is getting better. That game's got some unique content, the best graphics, some fun physics, some great time trials. It was a really good update with some IMSA content as well coming to the game. AC Evo announced an open world around the Nürburgring. This is awesome news. It's kind of like Need for Speed, but if it was a sim, I think that's such a cool, unique way to go about sim racing with a massive open world, including the Nordschleife. You can go to businesses, you can do all kinds of stuff. iRacing also released a massive update, a new rookie car, the BMW M2, the V8 supercars, of course, which I was happy about, and not a whole lot of other people. The track Thruxton was released, which sounds a little bit like a medical illness. The debris update, where debris could get put on the track. Also, the new GTP, the Ferrari, and also they kind of managed to break the GTPs, which caused a lot of drama, but they said they're working on it, so that's something to look forward to next year. And last but not least, Rennsport went into early access and no one cared. Thank you guys so much for watching that. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments politely. I hope you had a great 2024. I'm going to try to make more YouTube videos next year. I also stream 5 days a week. That's in the description, and I'd love for you to come across. I hope you have a great 2025. Thanks for watching me this year. See you later. Bye.